Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Geoff. Well, our mission is to share impactful information from guests from all over the world, from different backgrounds, male, female, homelessness to high-level professionals, athletes, to give you that person out there that know you're meant for more, that know you who have that gift inside of you still, and you're still stuck. You're in the right place. And if you're that person that's got it figured out, you're in the right place, because I want to tell you something. Our levels increase as the results of our life show up. And I challenge you today to get ready, because we got a guest coming in here today. Oh man, this gentleman is a delight, first of all, and just has so much to offer in these next period of time that we're going to spend together. So make sure that you have all your stuff set aside, because the Conversations with Geoff, that impactful information comes from the heart, gives you some empowering solutions that you can use in your life right now, to start to control that stinking thinking, that conversation you're having with yourself about yourself, that oftentimes it's not the conversation that's helping you. It's the conversation that's holding you back. It's the conversation reminding you of all the past failures, the disappointments, the rejections, and all that shadows our self-worth, right? So today, man, I want you to think about this as we go through this show. I'm going to bring him on here in just a second. How'd you feel when you looked in the mirror this morning? This is my trademark. When you look in the mirror this morning, who was looking back at you? And did you like what you saw? Woo! Hey, think about it. Because my man that's getting ready to come on here is going to help you get through whatever that misery is that you're having. And if you're having success, give me some more fuel, pour on the fire, baby, to pour on the fire, so you can continue to do great things, right? Well, my name is Geoff Tyson, and I am the host of Conversations with Geoff, and I'm known as the Comeback King, because like many of you who know you meant for more, whenever things showed up, I just continued to walk through it. I just continued to get up every time I was knocked down, and continue, oh man, like a pit bull holding on for dear life. So I challenge you today. Make sure you subscribe, show some love in the chats for our guest that's coming in here, and man, listen to this thing over and over and over again, right? All right. So anyway, we call him Bobby G, right? But his name is Bobby Giammaluca, from New York. He's a successful business owner, man, coach, certified coach from the Maxwell programs, and man, a new grandfather, and so many other things that I'm going to let him talk about as we have a discussion. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to the stage today my friend Bobby G, coming out of Arizona, baby.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, man? What's happening, brother?
Oh, nothing much, man. Life, God's smiling, so can't get much better than that. You know what I'm saying?
I do, man. It's always good to see you smiling every day, every morning. I didn't mention in your bio, your show that you do. Man, you bring such joy and perspective to people consistently, Monday through Friday. Right? And maybe we'll always start there. I mean, I mentioned the show. Why don't you tell the audience, what that show means to you? Something shows up with every day with some powerful message. Why don't you talk about that for a minute?
Well, what Jeff's referring to is I do what's called a morning motivator. I've been doing it for 30 years. And used to send it out to all of our employees. When my wife and I owned our business, we had 150 employees, because I wanted them to start their day in a better way. And I still do that with consistency, Monday through Friday. Actually, on Jeff's site, Stronger Together, I've always got a motivational message on there every single morning. And that message is just to help you start your day in a better way, man. It's to help you get off, and just some of those thoughts will hit you positively, and some of those thoughts you save for a later use. Yeah. But if I can make a difference in one person's life, I'm doing what the good Lord put me here on this earth to do. And that's hopefully what those morning messages are all about. In fact, today's message today's message was all about giving more. And they can go to your site, Stronger Together, and view that if they'd like to. And I do them every single day. Never miss a heartbeat, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And they're always so as you said, so enlightening and challenging sometimes, because you gotta have a little edge, right? I mean, people got to get a little nudge sometimes. That loving nudge to kind of get them to the next level, man. So, and what was today's title again? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Today's title was "The More You Give."
The more you
give is all about. The more you give, the better your life will become.
Yeah. What's Zig Ziglar talking about? When you're helping up people get what they want, then you'll get what you want, type thing. And serving, and the message is so loving in so many ways, man. So, one of the things, Bob, I didn't mention, and I want to make sure we get into too, is that, you have, in your journeys, I mean, you've done so many things, and in your travels, one of those things was around, building a business. Married, starting and building a business married. And you and I have talked often about, doing some workshops around the ins and outs and the successes and the pitfalls for people to avoid in doing that. But, why don't we just kind of, for the business minded folks out there, because COVID has sent people back to the drawing board to really take that launch, right? To go ahead and finally do that business they've been talking about and all those things. But your situation was a little different. But why don't we kind of just talk about that, from what you were doing before you started to how you got started, and then all the little neat things you did in between there.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, back in the beginning, as you know, I was in the corporate world. I was a corporate executive in the newspaper industry for over 20 years. My area of expertise was in due diligence. So when we would buy a property, change a property, I'd go into that property and just think about people, processes, production, and profits, and try to go ahead and make us a better operation when I left than when I got there. Through that journey, I was blessed. I met my wife at a newspaper, and we created we just fell in love, man. I knew the minute I saw her that I was reaching way above my level in life, and God truly blessed me and brought us together. During that journey, my wife and I decided, because we were moving all over the country based on doing the due diligence, decided to take a buyout when they moved us here to Phoenix, Arizona. Took a buyout. We decided to start our own company, serving the newspaper industry, because it is what we knew.
Yep.
We started an inbound customer care center. As you know, had over 150 employees. We focused on second chancers. So we made the conscious decision together that we were going to help those people that had a storied past. We were going to help them realize that their past doesn't define their future.
Yeah.
So we had them, you name it, fresh out of prison, on probation, alcoholism, drug addiction. They brought a lot of stories, and more, they brought a lot of education to me and my wife. There's no two ways about that. We did that for over 25 years.
Wow.
And we're extremely blessed, just helping those people become a better version of themselves. So to your point, we were married for 33 years. We worked alongside each other for over 20 plus years.
Wow.
You know that can be challenging. That can be challenging, But we made sure that we nurtured our love for one another. We made sure that we respected each other's decision and expertise. We made sure that we respected our positions at work. And as a result, we're still married. Now, we sold the company a few years back, but we're still married today. We're still very, very much in love. And as you mentioned, we have a new grandbaby, new 6-month-old, actually be 7 months old in 4 more days. So
wow.
6-month-old grandbaby, and we get the joys of watching him 3 days a week for our daughter and son-in-law. My wife still does her own business. She works in the finance space for small businesses, and I start my own business, which is coaching, mentoring, and just helping people have a better life. But you can do both. You can do both. I remember we had a consultant once that worked for us and was teaching us during our business. And he called us, he goes, "You guys are my anomaly." And I'm like, what does that mean? What do you mean that we're your anomaly? He goes, "There are many people that are in business and married, and usually they're either no longer married and still in business, or no longer in business and still married.
Still married. Yeah.
And two are still in business, still married, and still in love."
Wow. Wow.
And it's just, God just puts people in your life, and man, he just brought me and Susie together, and it was his journey that brought us together, and we just live with that joy and that gratitude of just us being together, man, and it worked.
But that's a beautiful story, Bob. But there's got to be some days. And I know there's people out there listening to you. I know you, right? But there's got to be days when life shows up, even in the most perfect arrangements and the most gratifying relationships, where life just shows up, and you're like, somebody's going to be in the doghouse or something.
Well, it wasn't always wine and roses. I'll tell you that much. Okay. In the early part of our journey, we had an office, obviously off-site, 10,000 square foot, and then we had an office right here. This was my wife's office. Okay. That was when our youngest child, Morgan was 5 or 6. So we wanted to be home for her every day. So Susie worked out of this office, and I worked out of the other office. And I remember these. I think I shared this story with you before. I'd come home at the end of the day, and it was a long day, and you're dealing with clients, and you're dealing with employees, you're dealing with other stuff. And I'd come home, and Susie would want to kind of recap the day because she wasn't there. I was kind of spent. I didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, there were those moments that were kind of like a little bit of tension.
Yeah.
But you gotta, and then there were those moments where there was a little bit of separation, so to speak. Like you don't share anything with me, blah blah blah, that type of stuff. But you learn how to work through them. You take a deep breath. You do what you got to do, and then you come back around it. But it's not all. There's going to be those days. There's going to be those days. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
You got to take a deep breath. You got to let go. You have to be, at least in my sense, I don't know how it would affect many of the others. There's got to be a lot of humility.
Oh man, yeah.
And you got to be good with. You got to have a lot of confidence, but you also got to have a lot of humility.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. That word keeps popping up in my life, boy. And when you say humility, give me an example of a time when you really you had to just. I hear humility, and then I hear humble pie. That stuff. Give us an example of a time and situation around humility.
Business relationship.
Yeah, business relationship. Yeah.
Well, when we were making decisions on the company, which direction we wanted to go to, what we wanted to do. I mean, we were an inbound customer care center that served the newspaper industry and the healthcare industry.
Right. Okay.
And so we would be talking about Susie's area of expertise was finance and human resources. And my area of expertise was clients and productivity.
Gotcha.
And sometimes those two paths will hit each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn. You got to learn. Or okay. There was one area I wanted to get there. There was a buddy of mine who owned a small newspaper.
Okay.
And he was like, "Bob, come on, partner with me. We'll go in on this. We got the call center. We'll do this." And man, I was pushing for it. It was like, and I think my whole mind was, "Hey, I could own a newspaper." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A small hometown publication.
Yeah.
Susie knew this gentleman, and she was able to get a hold of the finances. And she was like, "No, and no." And I'm like, "Yeah, but just think about it." Blah blah blah. No, and no.
Mm.
And you know what? Okay, all right. You're the numbers person. Gotcha. No problem. And I don't think it was 3 or 4 weeks later into this guy's journey in owning his own newspaper that he shut the doors and went to work at the San Francisco Chronicle.
Wow.
And she just kind of, she didn't tell me I told you so. But that beautiful look was, yep, you're correct.
And that's real life stuff, man, because opportunities are going to come in business and even in relationships, trying new things. And you really have to, man.
Yep. It's, Susie and I ride motorcycles, and we always say it's not those shiny chrome parts, man. You just got to keep the rubber to the road, and you got to make sure that you're moving forward.
Yeah, I like that. No shiny. That's not the shiny parts. It's the rubber meeting the road, and then being humble and humility playing a big part. So you do that, and you're having success, and you're around each other 24/7.
Yep.
Right. And I mean, because that's, you had an office. You guys were connected 24/7. What can you tell people that are looking at this business that may be having some struggles with ego or struggles with being humble in their behaviors, or 2A personalities that do that? How can we help them?
Well, let me tell you what the definition of ego is. Ego, EGO, edging God out.
Yeah.
If you edge God out of your relationship is already going to struggle. So you got to let that ego go. You got to let that ego go away. And you have to definitely, just like you said, man, you do spend 24/7 with each other. You do spend 365 days with each other. Everything about your life is the business. It's all around there, especially in our case, we were self-financed. We didn't have loans and banks and all that. It was us, man. So you have to make sure that you make time for yourselves. Susie and I like to bicycle. Okay, so we would go on bicycle rides, and our average bicycle ride is normally 20, 25 miles. We would go on bicycle rides, and that time out in nature, riding the bicycles, along the canal system here in AZ, that just gave us that time to just kind of talk.
Yeah.
Just talk about it, anything and everything. A lot of times it came into business conversations.
Right.
A lot of times it just came into how all that was happening. And then as you hear in my morning motivators, Fridays, look, Friday night's date night.
That's right. Consistently.
On Friday night is happening on Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to make that time to nurture that love, to just respect and share with your partner. And you need to let them know verbally, visually, physically, let them know how much they matter to you. I do want, and you know me, I'm a spiritual guy just like yourself, man. I pray every morning, and one of the things I do is I give thanks to God every single morning for the gift of her love and the blessing of our life together. And you know what? I'm going to get emotional on you right now. It just builds, man. So you have to take that time apart from the business world, and you have to realize and understand why you two are together.
Yeah, man, that's deep, buddy. I mean, but and I love that. Right. But I want to still kind of push it a little bit for people that are running. I got to do this. We got to get the next deal. We got to do the next payroll. We got da.
Yeah. Guys, our payroll was $100,000 every other week. I mean.
Yeah.
So you're talking. I used to call those tight cheek moments. I mean, you're talking. You know what I'm saying? So here's a little deal. There's a definition of difficulty, and in your business, there's difficulties that come out of that. The best antidote to difficulty in your life is the purpose in your life.
Yeah.
So the best, the best antidote to difficulty in your life is the purpose in your life. And the purpose in her and my life journey was to make a better life, not only for ourselves, but also for our children and hopefully our grandchildren.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you realize that, when you keep that in your mind, those difficulties are going to come hard. I remember a time, man, we had one of our clients, 18 newspapers. They decided that when everybody was offshoring, you know what I mean? Because offshoring customer service was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
They came to me and they said they actually flew out and they met with Susie and I in the office, and they go, look, we're making the corporate decision that we're going to move all of our business to India. And about there, I messed my pants, and I'm sitting at the conference table, and Susie's there, and I'm trying not to look, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. I could see her. She's kind of like, because we're talking, that was probably about 60 employees' jobs. You know what I mean? 60 employees. And I sat there and they told us the whole story and all their stuff. And I said, man, remember what you pay for is what you're going to get. Because they were going to be paying like chunk change. And they said, Bob, it's not about the service. It's about the finances. So I had to difficulty. You talk about difficulty. You're talking about a third of your business going away, and in 60 days.
Oh yeah.
In 60 days. It wasn't like giving a year advance notice. This is like,
it's coming fast, baby. You better be ready. Yeah.
So Sue and I kind of looked there, and we kind of looked at each other, and we pretty much know each other deal. So we told the clients, we go, look, introduce us to the new people. We'll make sure the transition is smooth. We'll make sure your customers don't feel a bump in what they're dealing with, and then we'll go from there.
Wow.
So 2 months pass, 3 months pass, and these gentlemen fly back in. And they sat in our office, and me and Susie, and they go, I just want to share with you guys that because the way you guys handled this difficulty, we're not taking our business anywhere. We're staying right here. And both of us I want to cry right now. We were holding it together in the office. And again, that difficulty, our purpose for doing that the way that we did it was we wanted to try to save our employees and to save work for our employees. And so that difficulty turned into allowing us to realize that purpose at that point in time. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, I'm just taking a few notes, man. And Bob, man, it's so powerful because you guys weren't nowhere in there, or did I hear you or give a feeling that you were thinking about yourself?
Oh no.
It was about those second chance people, that initiative, that purpose.
Yep.
You're talking about. Right, I can imagine you sitting there and Susie sitting there thinking, wow, it's like Charlie Brown. Those guys were like Charlie Brown's mom, won't. Yeah. And you guys were probably thinking about, man, what do we do with the jobs? What about who's going to, man.
Well, I was thinking about, okay, who am I going to bring in to replace? And one other thing that, and that's why I love Susie so much as well, too. We didn't share that message with our general manager or with our 10 managers or with any of the employees. We never shared that message.
Right.
And then after they decided to stay with us, they actually shared the message with our general manager. And he kind of looked at us and go, why don't you guys tell us? Okay, what were you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were trying to take care of it. And they were like, man, you guys, and again, we were look, you got 150 sets of eyes looking at you. There's 4 more sets of eyes behind those people.
Yeah.
So you got 200-300 people living their journey based on the decisions that you're making.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? There's a lot of God moments in there. There's a lot of prayer time. There's a lot of just giving us the grace, give us the confidence, give us the humility to do this right. And fortunately, again, it went for over 25, 27 years, somewhere around there. And yes, as you know this, we sold the business, and we chose long and hard on who we were selling it to because we wanted someone that was going to buy the business and keep all those people working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people would buy the business, just close it down and move the stuff into their building. So we're the guy that would buy the business and keep those people moving. So we did a search and we tried to do that routine. I stayed on for 2 years as a contractor, trying to make the transition smooth with the clients, with all this stuff and with things like that. And then I left and, as you know, continued my journey with John Maxwell, with Tony Robbins, and, you know, and unfortunately, that gentleman defaulted on the payments. And then he took all of that business and closed down the AZ offices and moved it to Mexico. And we're still in that battle. Let me just put it to you that way.
Yeah.
You know, but the one resolve, and I shared this with you before, the one resolve that I have is whatever God decides to happen, that's what's going to happen, man.
Yeah.
You know, you can't control the things around you, but you can control what comes from you.
Yeah.
So we're just going to deal with what God's decision is. We'll still do the things that we need to do. We'll still take care of ourselves. We'll still work. We'll still all doing that. But, you know, the business was successful. Just the personality pick wasn't.
Hey, you know, it's not always rosy, you know, at the end. It's what, like we talk about all the time, it's what happens. What do you do when you're in the comeback, right? When and you just get knocked off your feet, right? I mean, and you have all those years of memories and effort, blood, sweat, and tears, but you know, it's not what happens as much as what you do when things happen.
Exactly.
Right, and how you respond, man. So you guys did all that stuff. You made the business and you made some choices that didn't work out, which is part of life, right? Right. And so you people out there that think that entrepreneurship is what, you know, is the greatest thing in the world, it is, but it comes with a cost.
Absolutely. You talk about that, and I remember a lot of folks that, you know, my clients, when we would fly into different, we had 90 newspaper titles around the country, so we were all over the place, you know.
Yeah, wow.
We would fly out to see a client, and they go like, "Oh, wow, man, this, you know, take us out to dinner. You know, you can write all this off." and I'd always sit and I tell them, you know, guys, before I can write it off, I have to earn it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like I could just write a note and say, "Okay." You know, before I write this off, I have to earn it.
Yeah.
When they look at it, oh, like, I never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, because you work for a corporation who
Yes.
we were, you know, we were for ourselves. You know what I mean? And you know how that goes. Everybody gets paid first. The bills get paid first, and then if there's something left over, you get it.
That's right. That's how it's supposed to be. You know, if the cash flow is such, right, it's you take care of those that take care of you first. And then, as you said, there's stuff left. I remember when building my first business, and it was 6-7 months before I really saw something that came back to me in terms of a paycheck, right? And so I like that. So it's really, I like what you said. It's the mindset of the corporate world, collecting your check, and then you become. I'm not going to use what I was going to say, but so I'm over here to say you become, as an entrepreneur, every day you get up, you go hunting.
Oh yeah.
Right. You have to. I mean, you survive by the things that you achieve that day or what you're doing over a period of time.
You become the wolf.
You become
the wolf.
You become the wolf.
That's right. You have to become the wolf. You have to search for it. You have to hunt for it. You have to look for it, and you have to believe in yourself and engage in it.
Yeah.
You know, Martin Luther King, you have to have faith. Martin Luther King had that quote, that faith is taking the first step in the staircase when you can't see the rest of the staircase.
Can't see the rest of it. I love that quote. Yes.
And that's exactly what being an entrepreneur is.
Yep.
And especially if it's your own journey. And in our case, a lot of entrepreneurs, one person will own the business, the other person will work somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
In our case, we both gave up our corporate life, and everything was coming from the business. So one of us was out, both of us were out.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that little switch, you took away the steady income to really standing on your own efforts.
You're absolutely correct.
And that's the real thing, because there's something to say about a check that comes whether you're working hard or not. You're not working hard, eventually you're going to get fired, but the check's still going to come until then.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's
pretty much guaranteed unless the doors get closed.
Yep.
And it's so the mindset. Let's move into that for a minute. I mean, you're the coach. You're the motivator. You bring all that stuff in there. What can you tell somebody that is going from corporate America to their first entrepreneurship, or someone that's been an entrepreneur and they got beat up, or they're just not where they want to be? What can you speak to them about?
Well, again, you gotta figure your purpose in life, man. You gotta figure what that purpose is. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are you truly being that? I mean, the one of the quotes that I like, and it has to do with mindset. The power inside you to change the world around you, whatever your business is, whatever you're trying to do, from the inside out versus the outside in. It's got to start here.
Yeah.
And it's got to start here.
Yeah.
And it can't start with, they just let me go at work, so I have to go do this. So if you have to do it, if you're only doing it, and I'm going to say this carefully, if you're only doing it for financial gain, it's not going to make it.
Yeah.
You have to have a purpose there. You have to have a purpose that's deeper than the money, because you know what? The money will come. I mean, as you know, and you said it a minute ago, and I don't know if we were clarifying that, but when Susan and I opened the business, we hired nothing but second chances. We hired people with storied past.
Yeah.
We hired people that had baggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we told them, bring your bags to us. We'll unpack the dirty clothes and throw them away, and we'll put the good clothes in the dresser, so to speak. I mean, these guys were these people were fresh out of prison. They had addictions, that you name it, they had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our purpose was to help them make a better future.
Right.
And we knew that if we built that business from the inside out, just like that quote I just made, from the inside out, if we took care of the employees, they would take care of the clients, and then profits would come.
Yes.
So that mindset has to be, it's all in that story you tell yourself. That mindset has to be the reason, the purpose that you're doing this.
Yeah.
It can't be just based on the finance.
Yeah.
There has to be something bigger. I mean, and it's all, your messages, the message you posted this morning and the message you had, I think it was on Tuesday, you talk about stinking thinking.
Yeah.
And I love that term. That term is fantastic. I love that term, stinking thinking, about the lies you tell yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
If you tell yourself that lie, well, I'm going to go into business, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to make $1 million. Okay. It's nice to talk about, but you know what I mean? I mean, I always just say, we must stinking thinking. You got to change that mindset, because that's all part of the mindset. We must talk to ourselves and not listen to ourselves.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, man.
Stinking thinking, we're listening to what's going on in our mind.
Yes.
And what's going to go on in your mind is fear and anxiety and all of that. And if you continue to listen to that, then that's what you're going to live.
That's what you're going to live.
But if you talk to yourself, if you fill your minds with positivity, if you fill your minds with success, if you fill your minds with the purpose and the reason and the gratitude for God, that for the day that he's blessed you with, that's what you're going to hear.
and attract.
And
That, and attract, and sometimes it's just enough to kind of get you out of bed when life is pressing you down a bit, when you think, when you feel like you want to quit, right? When it gets.
John Maxwell teaches us the more gratitude you place in your mind, the more your mind will bring you gratitude.
Yeah.
So the more gratitude you speak into your mind, you tell yourself that story you tell yourself.
Yes.
The more your mind will find that gratitude. It's kind of like, if you want to do the analogy, it's kind of like buying a blue car.
Yeah.
Blue car, I'm happy about the blue car. All of a sudden, I start seeing blue cars. But that's what my mind is.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the same thing. The gratitude is the blue car.
Yes, the blue car.
You know what I mean? So the more gratitude you place in your mind, the more joy you place in your mind, the more happiness you place in your mind, the more your mind will bring those to you.
Yeah, knowing that the mind, what you think about controls how you live.
100%.
Right? How you act, how you feel, how you live, how you treat others. Right? And as you mentioned, it's to listen. Let's stop listening to yourself and start talking to yourself about gratitude. Start talking to yourself, about serving. Start talking to yourself about you deserve more. And serving others, Bob, man. So I love all of that, and man. So the people, and listen, the people that you're hiring, and this is no criticism to them. Their life has just been, they've been beat up all of their life, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and so they got all that baggage you're talking about. So to see that shift from them. Right, see them starting day 1 and then day 30 and day 90, and then if they last a year, just to see the changes that happen in them, had to have been amazing.
You have to, in that demographic, like you said, they've been pushed down, they've been kept down, they've always been talked to about their failures.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, mindset. The story we tell ourselves. I remember an event, and maybe in the first 5 years, I can't remember when it was, but a lot of our employees had probation officers, and I don't know if I ever shared this with you before, but we had a 150 workstation, a 10,000 square foot facility. So one day I'm in my office working, and my receptionist calls me, the administrative assistant. She's on the call center side, and she calls me. She goes, "Can you come down here?" I'm like, "What's up, Barb? What's the problem?" She goes, "Some guy just walked right past me, and he's standing over. I think the rep's name was Joe. He's standing over. We'll just call him Joe."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, I'll be right down." So I walked out of my office. I came down, and I walked into there, and I walked up to this guy, and I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Who are you?" And he looked at me, and I won't use the word he used, but he goes, "What the F is it to you?" I said, "Okay, let me start this conversation over." I said, "My name is Bob. I own this facility. You are trespassing, and that young lady that you see behind me is on the phone with the police." And he goes, "Well, I'm his probation officer." And I said, "Okay, that's cool. Thank you for telling me that. Now, you can go out to the lobby, and you can wait until he's free. And then when he's done, I'll let you both use my office in private."
Yes.
And he goes, "You're serious?" And I said, "Serious as a heart attack."
Yeah.
I said, "And by the way, call your supervisor." And I said, "Oh, wait a second. Here's my business card. Let him know who he should be talking to." And the guy walked out, and I turned around, and there were 150 sets of eyes looking at me.
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh man," you know what I mean? That gentleman, that employee, after they got done talking in my office, he walked up to me and he goes, "Thank you." He goes, "It's been a long time since I had somebody stand up for me." And I was like, "Dude, you're trying to change your world. If you were a jerk, trust me, I wouldn't have done that."
He wouldn't be there.
But again, you had it, and that made a difference in his mindset. He started to believe he was worthy.
Yeah.
He started to realize that he was an asset.
Yes.
He started to realize he was bringing value to the world.
Yes.
Which totally turned him around.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? And that's the whole deal. You got to look, changing your life doesn't start with how you change your life.
Mm.
It should start with who you have to become to be the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Changing
Yeah.
your life has got to start with who you want to be. The how will come.
Right. That's right. That's right.
You got to figure who
Yeah.
you want to be.
Right. Don't let the how be the of the who and the why. Right. Don't let that be the reason, man. And
Don't let that dictate your journey, man. Don't let the how
yeah.
dictate your journey. The who,
Yeah.
because when you realize the who, then you also realize your purpose.
Right. That is right.
When you realize your purpose, like I said earlier, that's the antidote to the difficulties in your life.
And I love that piece. You know, it's like we talked about earlier. You know, the problem, our problems are the process, and whether it's God, the universe, whatever you believe in, as to who you put your faith and trust in,
Right.
to know that, okay, this is part I really want, and the greater your aspirations, the greater the challenge, the greater the stress and the right. It just because life shows up, and now I really appreciate your time here, Bob. And those of you that are going to hear the recording and all that, make sure you show some love with this and share this information, and go back and take a lot of notes, because he left a lot of nuggets in there. But as we talk about all these things, and talk about mindset, and you talk about humbleness, and you talk about ego, edging God out, you share all these things. What is it that in today's world, as we kind of get to the end of this thing, with all the crazy going on, I mean, and pick something, pick a lane, right, and do that. What can you offer? What piece that you haven't already offered that you could kind of start to wrap this thing up with?
I know this has worked for me, and I teach a lot of my students, and I used to teach all our workers, our employees. It's how you start your day and how you end your day. You know what I mean? And it goes back to your messages these last few days. It goes back to these messages, where you're talking about being spiritually driven. I start my morning every day with gratitude with God. I give him thanks for the day that he has just blessed me with. I give him thanks for all my yesterdays, and I give him thanks for all my tomorrows. I ask God each and every morning to fill me with the Holy Spirit until I overflow. To bless me with physical and emotional strength, and to bless me with a clear and open mind and a patient and compassionate heart. I just ask him just to use me, make me be the vessel, and use me to make a difference in the world. And then the one thing that I do, and I teach my students, at the end of the day, pick one thing. Start at what's called a success journal. Pick one thing that was successful in that day. It could be who you spoke with. It could be a thing at work. It could be that you let a guy get in front of you in traffic. Pick one thing that you were successful at, and allow that to be your thought as you're going to sleep. Because again, like we said earlier, like you and I said earlier, Geoff, if our mind is thinking and sleeping on that success, then we will wake with a successful mindset. So look, man, we all my pop used to tell me, my dad had some great dadisms. My pop used to tell me, Bobby, we all put our pants on the same way every single day, one leg at a time.
Yeah, man.
So no one, they may be sitting in a different chair than you're sitting. They may be better educated than you are, but you know what? We're all the same. We all put our pants on one leg at a time.
One leg at a time. And my pop would add to that, the pants may cost more than what I got.
There you go. That's a good one. I didn't hear that one before. I like that.
But it's got to pull up the leg and then the other. And so, man, that's I like that success journal and the one thought, and so that's really been amazing to kind of sit and listen to you chat like this.
Oh yeah, there's some other things that I didn't get to share today that I'd love to share in the future. But again, you say it all the time. That's thinking. It's all in that mindset, man.
Yeah.
It's all, we've been blessed with this day. This day's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my personal story. I mean, I'm one of 4 siblings. I had an older brother who was 15 years old, and one day when I was 8 years old, he left the house and he never came back.
Mm.
He was killed, hit by a car.
Yeah.
I didn't have him the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for every single day that God has blessed me with, for the people like yourself that he's put in my life. I mean, I don't want to get off on it, get preachy, but you got to. I mean, that's a hardcore analogy.
Yeah.
But it is the reality of life. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, man.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed, man, and we're going through. My family, you going through it. Evidence of what you're saying. You knew Steph. We're going on 3 months now, and so it's in the last conversation I had with her the day before I got the phone call, same day, that all this started to happen for her. We had, I didn't ever think that she would be gone.
That's right. And she's a beautiful person.
Beautiful.
There was so much inside of her that she shared with all of us, man. She made a difference in everyone's journey.
Yeah. Still doing it today.
Got that right, man. That guy, we still talk about her from time to time. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So nothing's promised. There's no guarantees, and don't waste a moment of your life.
Yeah.
So Bobby B, how do people get a hold of you, man? I mean, what's going on? How do they reach you? If they want to.
You're very kind. You got my email address right there. It's bob@differencemakers.com. Or they can go to Facebook, and it's under my name, Bob Giambaluca. That's why everybody calls me Bobby G, because nobody can say Giambaluca. So,
I've been practicing on it, man. Giambaluca.
Hey, it took me till the 4th grade, buddy, so don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
Geoff with a G is kind of like, they mess up your name and they pick on your name all your life. So I'm sure you had the same thing, and so,
totally.
Yeah.
A lot of people used to call me Jim Baluka.
That's like
Facebook, Bob Giambaluca, LinkedIn, Bob Giambaluca. You'll see my morning motivators posted on those every Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Or if you want to chat, if you want to talk about life, if I can help you make today better than yesterday, bob@differencemakeraz.com.
Yeah, I love that. And Bob, let's just put it out there in the ether that you and I have been talking about doing some training around tips and pitfalls to avoid and starting that business as a single, as I built my first couple businesses, and then singly married but single doing the business, and then married together and doing the business. So for those of you out there that are hearing this message and you know of someone or yourself are interested, be on the lookout because we'll be coming back to you soon around some of those initial opportunities to work with both of us and launching that successful business, stepping out, leaping and letting the net appear as you fall to build your business. But brother, listen, man, we could be here forever, but I got to let you go.
I hear you. Gotta go. And thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. I appreciate you.
The privilege is all mine, Bobby G, and look forward to connecting with you real soon to deliver some more powerful stuff. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon, brother.
God bless, brother. Have a great day. All your friends out there, have a great day, everybody. God bless.
All right. Bless you too, Bobby. We'll see you, man. Bye. So, hey, listen, I got to tell you, for those of you that stayed with us and those of you that's catching the replay, man, go back and listen to it again. And remember, as he talked about, difficulty lies, your purpose lies in the difficulty. And ego, edging God out, edging goodness out for those that may not believe in God, edging and put a word in there out, right? And separating you from getting to where you want to be, pushing you away from what your next thing can be. Don't let ego be the reason why you can keep blocking your blessings. And as I talk to you, I'll go back and listen to what he shared today. And let me leave you with this. I made a note before we started here, if I can find it. 3 things I want you to do as we talk about the stinking thinking and conversations with yourself and listening to yourself. I want you to begin to do one, identify the lies and the messaging that you're giving yourself. Those lies about who you are, those lies about your worthiness, those lies about your ability, those lies about that person that at some point you began to believe. Listen, identify those lies. Shift your perspective around those lies. Just shift it. Hey, that's not true. That's shifting. That is not true. I am not what I believe to have been all these years because of what other people have told me. Shift it. And lastly, declare what's true. Begin some declarations around who you are meant to be, right? I am worthy of success. That's why I say it to myself. I am worthy of success. Nothing will stop me or you from reaching your destiny. We shall not be denied, man. Because those lies that stopped me many, many times throughout my life. So I encourage you, share this information. Reach out to me if you need information and you're wondering about some stuff and not sure how to get there. Hit me up, and I'm going to put my Calendly link out here. I believe I can do that before you go so you can get a hold of it, and it'll be flashing by, and set up an appointment. And then let's talk, right? Let's make sure we chat, because there's no better time than now to reach your destiny. There's no better time than now to turn away from the stinking thinking. And embrace for the comeback, baby, because your message and your purpose is in there. Hey, we'll see you on the next episode. Share this information. Set up the notification bell. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.